Hello, everyone. We're getting ready to go. Whoop, whoop. Just give us a minute or two as we let our live audience join us today. We're super excited about the show. For those of you who are here with us, we see you coming in. Let us know where you're watching from. Drop that in the comments. Drop it in the comments so we know. And of course, I know it feels like we should all remember this by now, but it is so crazy that they have not changed that little blue option to everyone from the very beginning. So make sure that in the to box, where it's that little blue pull down, it says everyone, so that everyone knows where you're coming from. Hi, Susie and Eureka. Yay. Hi, Cassandra. Oh, I think you're talking just to this group here. So make sure that you choose everyone. Oh, you did. Look at you. Oh, wait, no, that's Cassie and Cassandra. What a hoot. All right, everyone. Come on in. Come on in. For some reason, I'm not able to. Maybe I'm not able to take Melanie off over here. I still see Melanie.
You do remove non-video.
I tried that.
Okay.
Zoom has given us a run for our money today.
I almost didn't show up, so there you go.
Hello, everyone. We're having a wild tech ride today. Give us a second here. We want to make sure it's the best and most amazing. I cannot hide her.
Hi, Gita. Hi, D'Anthony. Oh, thank you. Thank you for that, D'Anthony.
Bless it. Can you all still see Melanie's set image?
They cannot.
They cannot. Oh, awesome. Excellent. All right.
It takes a village. Thanks, team.
Yes, exactly. Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fierce Female Friday. For those of you who are just rolling in, you know what we love to do. We love to hop on over to the chat and share where you are watching from today. Are you at home, at the office? Are you on the top of a mountain? Are you by the beach? Let us know where you are. For those of you who've already shared where you are, let's do Instagram again this week. Drop your Instagram URL into the chat so that we can follow each other and get connected out in the interwebs. I love it. Love it. Oh, I love seeing all of these amazing people joining us. All right. We have a great show for you today. Of course, we've got some updates. For those of you who don't know me, I am Deborah Trapin. I am the Chief Strategist for WomanUP. I am blessed to work with Sarah, who will introduce herself in just a moment. We have a couple of things that are happening inside the WomanUP community. First of all, a big thank you to all of you who participated in the Shine a Light on Her challenge for Women's History Month. It did, quote unquote, end at 11:59 p.m. last night. However, every day of every week of every month is Women's Month around here. So if you were like, gosh, I couldn't make it happen during the month of March. It's never too late. You can still shine a light on the women who have made an incredible impact in your life. The best way to get us involved is to tag at WomanUp Official and use our hashtag #IamWomanUp. We would love to help amplify those stories. We are also in just a few weeks, I guess maybe about 19 days actually from now, we're going to be in New York for Inman Connect. Yay! And we
Yay.
have a couple of sessions happening at 1 o'clock. So from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern time, we will be hosting a session for WomanUP during the conference. And then, of course, that afternoon, exact time to be determined, but save around the 4:30 to 6 o'clock hour for our famous WomanUP meetup. Again, details will follow on that. We do have an awesome link from Inman for the community that saves, I think it's like over $400, right, Sarah? It's such a killer savings. So
Yep.
425. So we'll make sure to drop that in here and of course include it in the show notes.
Thank you to Inman for all of
Yeah.
the support of WomanUP, so that they love us and they want to shine some, sprinkle some discounts on our community. So
that's right. That's so right. They are so great to us. We're so appreciative of the entire community. In particular, Katie and Laura have been taking really, really great care of us. Save the date. You know, we're going to say it every single week until the annual conference. Save the date, August 30th through September 1st. We are getting together at the Pasea in Huntington Beach, California. Sarah, you didn't even hear this. I did hear from Alicia and she's available. So Mondavi Sister Wine will be poured again on the pre-con wine fest. So more details on that. We are prepping for that event. We are getting all things put in place, the marketing plan, the ticket release plan, and the content. And you all know, you've heard us say it here dozens and dozens of times, the content is created by you. So what we need you to do is take a big deep breath, take maybe 3 or 4 over the weekend and say, is it my turn to share my story? If you feel called to share your story with us, we would love for you to head on over to IamWomanUp.com/share your story and share it with us. Once we have all of the submissions for that, Sarah and I sit down and we start looking at it like it's a matrix to find where the red threads are between all of your stories. So the sooner you get those in, the sooner we can start announcing what kind of conversations we're going to be having there. In the next couple of weeks, we'll also share with you the format, the exciting format that we've got for that. But for now, save the date and share your story. And then, of course, our new after the show with our guest will be happening today. Katie said yes. So make sure you stay all the way to the end till we turn off the recording and snuggle in for some rapid fire with Katie. All right, Sarah, what do you got going on your side?
Well, thank you, Deborah. I'm so blessed to work with you and Melanie, and I see D'Anthony in the stream and Mark Farfel. I am the Senior Vice President of Member Information at CAR, and that really encompasses a lot of different things. It includes our Research and Economics department. It includes our DEI and Fair Housing, all of our initiatives that are under that umbrella. And then we have our Industry Relations, WomanUP, Steps Toward Homeownership, Transaction Rescue, which is one-on-one transactional support if you are in a transaction that needs a little bit of help on the financing side. So Mark Farfel is in the stream, and I know he will share the info about Transaction Rescue. In addition to Transaction Rescue, we started our financial literacy arm, which is our Steps Toward Homeownership event. It's an event, but it's a lifelong journey of learning about the new programs and lending programs, closing cost assistance programs, information on the financing and the path toward homeownership. So we encourage you all. It is information geared towards realtors, so you can take that to your first-time buyer, potential first-time buyer, parents of kids who want to get them out of their basement, buyers, to get people into homeownership for the first time. So
buyers. Have you coined that?
I know, right? Get them out of your basement, buyers. it may not be our first one. No, it's not our first one of the year, but we do this on a quarterly basis. Our next Steps Toward Homeownership event, they're all virtual and they are all free for CAR members. We are going in person later this year, which will have a tiny cost, but this is a free event. It is on April 6th, and Mark, I know, will share that registration link in the stream. So thank you, Mark. I was just at an in-person event for the first time in several weeks, and it was, or months, and it was Aria's global luxury event, and I spoke on California outmigration patterns, and it was really interesting. And I promised to share all of the details that we have. Where I promised Deborah I was going to write a blog article about this, because it was really. It's really, I mean, our research team has a slew, and it's just rich information for members to kind of look at and assess what their next game plan is. So I promise you all, I will be doing that. And it was a really great event, and we love Aria. Aria loves, they give WomanUP love, but they love CAR, and we love that relationship with them. So that was a really great event. All looking all at luxury and global and international real estate. So that was really cool. The next thing on my CAR list hat is going back to Sacramento. Finally, after 2 years, we will be going to Sacramento to do our Ledge Day in person. So if anybody is interested, we do have a scholarship for first timers. And it's a really impactful event. You feel like you're really doing something for the good of your profession to be a part of that. And we get top-notch speakers like legislators. We've had the governor for the last several years. And so I encourage you all, if you have not been, to join us April 27th. And that's it for me. Deborah, back to you. I'm not hearing you. Am I the only one?
I'm not hearing her.
Okay. Oh, thank you, D'Anthony. While Deborah comes on, thank you so much. D'Anthony put the link to we have a special Latino, we have a Latino Professionals Network, which you should know about. So I know D'Anthony will put that link to anybody who wants to get involved there, but we have a scholarship devoted for LPN, Latino Professionals Network, but also we have an overall scholarship for our first timers to Ledge Day. So thank you for sharing that, D'Anthony.
Awesome. Can you hear me now?
We can.
Okay. The tech gods are not favoring today. However, everything is going to be perfect from now on as we get ready to introduce our guest of honor today. I am so excited to introduce you all to Katie Lappe. She is the founder and CEO of Direct Offer, the real estate technology startup dedicated to helping real estate professionals showcase themselves while making the dream of home ownership accessible to everyone. The company's patent pending Do audio tours, I cannot wait to hear more about that, empowers agents to bring a home to life by adding audio in any language to individual listing photos. How cool is that? Katie is a successful entrepreneur. In 2015, she founded auctionlook.com, which has grown to become the multiple listing service for residential real estate and auctions nationwide. In 2002, she founded Home Market Magazine, Inc., a publication she sold in 2018 after growing it to become the largest real estate listing publication in Kentucky and Tennessee. Woo! Katie holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Memphis, and she is here to share her story. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you so much for having me. I am super excited and nervous to be here. Thank you.
Well, Katie, thank you so much. As the founder and CEO, that's a definite bucket list for many of our community to aspire to getting to founder and CEO status. So congratulations. We love in this community, we love origin stories. So we'd love to hear your story of leadership and your rise to now the pinnacle?
So thank you. My life's been like a river, and it's had many twists and turns. I grew up actually in San Francisco. My mom was a single mom. It was tough for her to, she was a realtor. She had to sometimes choose between, putting food on the table or advertising her listings. And, it was very tough growing up in that situation. I always had a key around my neck to let myself in after school. And I know I'm not the only one who went through this. I never became an agent, but I always helped my mom with her marketing and her promotions and eventually her technology in her business. And she did scale up to be a multi-million-dollar producer. She was a fighter. I was supposed to actually be a high-powered paralegal. I also have a degree through the Tennessee Bar to go to court for attorneys, and I specialize in patent law. But,
Wow.
but that wasn't what the world wanted me to do. What the world wanted me to do was something greater. And I didn't know it. And I think that in life, sometimes you got to sit back, take a pause, and listen to your heart and your soul on what you need to do. Yes, I started Auction Look. So
That was beautiful.
thank you. I married a sailor, and I moved from San Francisco to the middle of the country in this amazing, cute town called Bowling Green, Kentucky. And it was a new experience for me. Here I am, this girl from the city in this little town, decided, okay, I'm going to start a homes magazine. And I went around and started a homes magazine so I could work at home and raise my 3 children. They're grown now, but I have 2 boys, and my youngest is my daughter, Abigail. So, while I was doing that, something horrible happened in my life. Suddenly, my daughter woke up with an allergic reaction. She was 2 years old. I picked her up out of her crib, and she couldn't crawl, she couldn't walk, and she suddenly stopped communicating with me. And it was neurological. And this happens in life, just things out of the blue that are out of your control. So you pull your bootstraps up and you go, okay, what are we going to do? So, what ended up happening was the results of it is she is a high functioning autistic child. And
Wow.
so suddenly I was in dire need to really step up my game, and the real estate community saw what I was going through, and they supported me. And they supported my journey to take care of my daughter by supporting my publications. And I didn't beg for their help. I told them, you help me, I will help you. And they did. They gave me the freedom. This industry gave me the freedom in my life to raise my daughter, to get her through therapy, horse therapy, to get her into, Sylvan Learning Center, where she needed extra help that she wasn't getting at school. And to the point where, as of today, my daughter is at Union University. She graduated from the EDGE program. She got admitted as one of the youngest adults to the adult education program to get her 2-year degree. And she's going to go on for her bachelor's. She is an inspiration to me. She is an inspiration to the world. There is a lady out there, and I'm sure you're all familiar with her, named Temple Grandin Tipton. And if you are not, you should go watch the movie. Claire Danes is in it. And it tells the story that not only myself, but other parents with children of special needs go through to get their children in a position where they're successful in life.
Wow.
So, when the community was supporting me, I will let you know something straight out, people. I have a debt that I have to repay to the real estate community that is unpayable. I can't pay it back no matter what I do in my life, because they took care of me. And I'm going to tell you, I wanted to give back, and I want to give back. And I've done some things in my career that I hope are worthy of this community. After I sold my homes magazine, because everything went to the digital age, I started a company called Auction Look. Auction Look is the largest auctioneer association, MLS, in the United States. We have portals for all states, and we sponsor about 29 association websites now, but we're the MLS. I found that real estate was going to become more digital because everyone has these cell phones and everyone communicates through them. And so what I wanted to really was cover, that transparency and understand how real estate auctioneers who are like in the state of Texas, you have to have a real estate license and an auctioneer license in order to sell 100% online. And there's about 20 states like that. So we've got licensing laws involved here. So I wanted to understand the process. And that community welcomed and supported me as well. And these were all agents as well. And so in doing that, that inspired me to build Direct Offer. Because what I often saw is I had a lot of moms like my mother struggling to put food on the table. Maybe they're not the top 20% of producers. Maybe they're just, living paycheck to paycheck. They're working 2 jobs. They're in the car rider line like I was, where I would fall asleep. I was so exhausted after working at the end of the day, and somebody's rapping on my window going, "Lady, move forward in the car rider line." And we're exhausted. I wanted to build something where our agents could communicate easily with their clients, where we could put the humanity back into technology, transparency back in technology. And then I woke up, and that's how Direct Offer was born, because I wanted to build software as a service. I don't want to be the next big portal out there. I want to create software that works for all companies that you can own, that like Microsoft does it. I want you to have it. And I want you to be able to scale and empower your business and differentiate yourself. But I wanted it to be all inclusive. I wanted it to be for everyone, something everyone could afford, something that would cost less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks every month. So I woke up in the middle of the night. Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, I have to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
And I absolutely did that. I woke up and I went, why has nobody done this? Here's the truth. Everything we have is visual. Not everyone has good vision. Some people have a hard time reading. Some people, whether you're dyslexic or you have a learning disability that makes it difficult for you to read, it is a disadvantage when you start your home ownership journey. Another disadvantage is, what if English is not your first language? If I'm going to go start looking at real estate, it's frightening because I don't understand what I'm looking at. So I have patent pending, and we are slated to get patent. We've already been partially approved. It's pretty awesome. The audio tours. So what I wanted was, well, that single mom is falling asleep in her car, and then she wakes up and she's rested, or she's running to the grocery store and she has that moment of quiet in our car. I'm sorry, every busy parent loves that moment of quiet in the car.
1000%.
I wanted them to be able to tell the story of the home and the properties easily from a mobile device while they're running around in their crazy lives. Let me tell you about this. So if you're an agent and you're going into, your seller's home, you're on a listing presentation, and your seller has memories in that home. And when you have an open house, the seller has so many things they want you to tell about the home. And as an agent, we want to do this for our seller. We love our sellers, but it's really difficult when you're being bombarded, especially in a seller's market, by a million different buyers, to be able to tell the story. So this patent is where you can put what's really like mini podcasts on each one of your listing photos.
Cool.
So while the parent is busy in the car, as a part-time agent or a full-time agent, having that moment, and they've already contracted the listing, they know the details about the room, the house, the home. Now they can just click a button and record.
Mm,
Hi, I'm so-and-so, and let me tell you about this gorgeous home.
that's so great.
The
It's really
beauty
cool.
about it is they can also record in any language.
Yeah. Well, what I love about what you're sharing here in your passion for what you're doing
A
is
little
that
passion.
you're speaking into so many of the lanes that we love inside the Woman Up community: diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility. Right? I mean, those are major drivers for what we do, and that's why we're so passionate about getting more women to the leadership table, because we know there's something innate in how their brain sees things, that aha in the middle of the night that is about the, oh my gosh. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like in the first time we had a conversation, Katie, you were actually talking about your daughter was looking at listings and she
Yes.
was like, oh, like just too much. And you were, yeah. And the neurodivergent community is not small.
Exactly.
And we have been as a world taught that it's a tiny percentage when it's really not. And so you're actually bringing to the table a huge community of people who have not been served by a lot of the technology in real estate.
It's
That's huge.
overdue. It's
Yeah.
overdue.
Yeah. It's
You
so
know,
huge.
we my daughter, she wants to get married, she wants to own a home, and I want to, for people like my daughter or anyone who has something that's, putting up walls from them being able to have this opportunity, I want to help tear those down.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just takes technology taking the right turns and twists to allow it. And it's not just about the people with short of sight or learning disabilities or languages. It's also giving opportunity to all agents. Technology tools are ridiculously expensive.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. And most agents cannot afford to use them on every single listing. If they can, they should. I mean, obviously you want to offer your sellers the most you can, but you can't. And affordability is very important in our technology for our agents. You shouldn't
Yes.
have to decide whether or not you can afford it. It should be affordable.
Yeah.
So
Amen. Amen. And it should be affordable, and the individual should have access to and ownership, right?
exactly.
Which is such a beautiful part of what it is that you're creating. So amazing. I love it.
And, and I, no, go ahead.
I can talk forever, but
That's why you're here. No, I was just going to comment on all of the love that you received already in the chat, just sharing your story, sharing about, I mean, you are not alone. And I love your commitment to giving back to a industry and to people who have given you the opportunity. I feel very similar in that regard. And so it really was beautiful to share that. And I didn't want to brush that away just because we went on to a different discussion. But I think that's, we all should be so lucky to have such a purpose-driven world and life. So I just want to acknowledge that and thank you.
Yeah.
thank you so much. I was on stage, and when I started my speech, I was talking about how many people in this room. I said, I would like to know how many people in this room know somebody or have somebody in their family that has a disability.
Mm.
And if so, please stand up. I'm going to tell you, there is power when you see the whole room stand up. People realize nobody's alone in this.
No.
We are absolutely together in this. And we have to include this.
I agree.
it's so
Well, and the next
important.
generation is not going to allow us to not.
Exactly.
Right. And I mean, like the generation that doesn't even have a name to it yet, right? The people who are doing the TikToking and reels and building, they are bringing to the forefront so many things that it's not that they were being ignored. It's just that for the last 20 or 30 years, we've been moving so fast with building technology and in this hustle culture that we've lost sight of humans and the shift in humans. We evolve. We're humans. And so what I love is you're bringing that into this conversation again, saying, oh, no, it's time. Like, it's time for us to reconnect. And I think, Sarah, I think it was at the broker conference that you hosted. I want to say maybe it was 2019. You had a conversation, I think Georgia Perez was there, about the humanity and technology. Is that ringing a bell?
Yep. Oh, that was such a great conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, Georgia Perez from Moxie.
Yeah.
She was talking about how important it is that we include all of these, all of the ways that people ingest technology when you're building it, and how important design is in that. And you're doing that from scratch, right?
Yes, if you two don't know each other yet, we need to get you connected for sure.
I would love that. I would love that. Familiarity.
It's all about, that's what WomanUP is all about.
We have to bring the human relationships back into technology, because technology has taken away the human element. And that was, obviously part of the inspiration of the audio tours is, I know some agents are going to be uncomfortable when they first start doing it because it's their voice recording. But really, if I'm a buyer, if I hear your voice, I am perfectly comfortable with calling you because I honestly feel like I know you. And that's what we need. And we need that human touch back in technology.
Yeah. And it's the option. Oops. Do you want to, so real quickly before you move on, Nancy Chan in the flow of things is asking, how do they access the audio tours? So I want is there a place, do they get that on direct offer? How does that work so that the people here who are, dying to make their first audio tour, now that the seed's been planted, where do they go?
So what we have is we've got 2 channels to access the audio tours. We do have some of the larger brokerages. We're starting out with a large brokerage who's putting it in their back end for all of their agents to have access to it. And they're sort of our beta, and that will be coming out in May 1st. So there will be a little bit of a wait on this, guys. We do have an app in the store, which you can, if you use, we currently get our listings through List Hub. So if your listings are on the app, you can log in and you can try it out. But please reach out to me separate, and then I can put you on the list. And when we really open up our doors, I'm a firm believer. I take things slow and steady, and I really want to get it right, especially when it comes to something like this. So
awesome. We'll be sure to include your contact information in the show notes for sure.
Please do.
Lots of our community will want to know more. And you haven't seen the last of Katie. She'll be around for sure. One thing I'd love to hear from you, Katie, is this is a big deal. You're creating a company from scratch. Yes. But I'm sure there are several lessons that have come along with that. And would you like to share maybe your favorite business lesson and maybe a challenge that you had to overcome and what you got out of that?
So, early on in my career, I learned a lot. I just because they're friends doesn't mean they're people that would be good business partners. And doesn't always mean they have your best interest in mind. They think they do, but they may not. But I've learned it's okay to say no. It's okay to, just sort of sit back and work with the right people for your culture and your mission and what you want to do, and then invite people in slowly into the process. And I'm such a go-getter, and we're all such go-getters, and we want to get it today, done. And you know what, if it's meant to happen and if it's going to be successful, take your time. It will happen. Follow your passion. If you're passionate about it, the money will come, but the passion first. So, and that's what I've learned, is to just slow down and digest and take my time.
I love
I
that.
really learned to eventually build a trustworthy team. That takes a lot of time. You can be good friends, but good friends aren't always business friends.
That's right. That's huge. Well, and I think that does happen inside real estate sometimes, right? Best friends are like, oh, let's partner up, let's become a team. And it doesn't always work out. And then you have best friends like Lisa and Lori who do all sorts of things together in their career. So it's just, sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. I love that. That's just such a great reminder, Katie.
Thank you.
I also think it's important. What you said was really resonating, because it was like, take it slow. Yes. And follow your heart. Like take it slow. Those are two really powerful lessons. Like if we could all just, really take that in, soak that in, seriously, I think we would be better humans for it. Like I know I would. Take it slow and do what's in our hearts. How did you come to that? Like, I mean, did it dawn on you one morning, or did it like smack you in the face?
When you're in the tech industry, everyone's like, oh, don't do this. They're going to steal this. This is going to happen. And you feel like you're being pushed to rush. And then what I quickly realized is every human in our industries, and in a lot of vertical industries, they have their own agenda. They're not going to just drop everything and attack your agenda. And if you have something and you're passionate about it, nobody can do it better than you. They can't, because you're passionate about it. And if you're my dad is one of my biggest influencers. And he said to me, if you're happy flipping burgers at McDonald's, go do that. Do what makes you happy. Your life will be fulfilled. Follow your passion.
Yeah. Well, and what I'm also hearing, I mean, I think part of this slowing down, like I mentioned before, right? We're coming, the pendulum is starting to swing back from this, the grind that really kind of started, I think in the 80s. I'd say like in the 80s, it started to really, that grinding started. And there's so many people who were raised by parents who were in the beginning of that grind. And now we're like, how do we get out of it? Yes. How do we get out of it? And the last 2 years for millions of people were how they're getting out of it, because they slowed down. Exactly. Whether they wanted to or not, right?
People are working remote now. Twitter who used to be one of the biggest offices in San Francisco, went 100% remote. And what that did is it bought personal time for their staff, and that made their employees happier, because it allowed them to slow down. I mean, you're going to spend 4 hours commuting from Marin into the city a day, and you don't want to do that anymore. And that saves 4 hours a day.
And also, I think that a really important piece to that, Katie, is that it has helped mothers. It has helped parents. Like, it's helped me as a parent not be like frazzled. Oh my God, what am I going to make for dinner? All that stuff. It's such an inclusive thing that companies can and are doing, is to make remote an option.
Well, and also now that we're at home, like I'm at home right now. And I told everyone, be quiet, please, if you don't mind. But my young adults, when they're off college, will come back. You'll see them. It's this whole Zoom thing, which is big part of our world now. But it created more of a human touch, because we're now seeing people in people's homes, and we're seeing a little bit about their lives. And I love the human touch about that, because one thing to go into an office, we've all got our suits on and we're around a boardroom. I don't know anything about these people, but now that we're all on Zooms, I actually do, because I saw your little Yorkie crawl behind you, and then your son was over there. And the human touch is so humans are empowering when you get to know them as humans. And we have to do that, because every human is unique. Every human has their own origin story. And when we ignore that, we ignore who we are. We just flat out do.
So true. Oh my gosh. Katie, you're singing our song. I can't believe, I think this might be the longest we've gone on the show, not talking about Jeff Colvin's Humans Are Underrated. It's one of those books that we talk about a lot. I don't know if you've read that one yet or listened to it. Highly recommend it. It's a great book. But there actually is a chapter in there about, women ruling the world. But the idea of reconnecting with one another, and that, I remember at the beginning of uh, the sheltering in place and sheltering in our homes, everyone kind of got the Zoom fatigue because everything was on Zoom. And what I love is now 2 years later, I think we're finding the balance.
Yes.
Right. We're finally kind of walking into this hybrid, and you're seeing that all over the place. I mean, I see it in job descriptions all over the place, like hybrid work life. Like,
Yes.
wow. I mean, this is like sci-fi.
I don't know if my son heard you. He came in here. I was about to hop on my Facebook Live. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Shh."
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so you mentioned your dad.
Yes.
That brings us to, we love to talk about the people in our lives that have mentored us. And what we find, Katie, just so you know, is a lot of women don't actually recognize the people in their lives who are mentors as mentors. They don't use that language. And so we love to find out, like, do you have a story about how mentorship has impacted you? What maybe was your favorite advice or treasured advice from a mentor? What do you have on that?
Yes. So I mentioned my dad. He's actually my stepdad, and both of my fathers were high profile businessmen. And my biological father taught me to look somebody in the eye and shake their hand. My stepdad, Bill, taught me something that was so valuable to me, and I carry it at my side every day. He said, "Katie, stop when you have a conversation with somebody, stop looking at it through your lens. Listen to them. Don't just think about how you're going to respond, because you're missing the conversation. Listen to them, because they are going to have a different idea, a different thought process. And when you gain that knowledge, you're more knowledgeable. And heck, you might learn that you were completely wrong. And when you find that out, there is so much power in saying, oh, I'm wrong. In fact, it's empowering. We're so afraid of admitting that we're wrong, and we don't realize how empowering that is to admit when we're wrong, and we can only do that when we listen.
Yeah.
So
So
we're like beaming. Sarah and I are looking at each other.
This is a lesson that our co-founder for WomanUP and my boss and mentor, and we've come full circle, has taught us all in the community, but me and too in particular, is are you listening, or are you waiting to talk? And that's a famous line from Pulp Fiction. But that was her big thing, like, is active listening. And really, because there is nothing more powerful than the gift of your attention.
Yeah.
And then you're opening yourself up to changing a different mindset or being educated on something you may not have had the same perspective on. Right. And that's beautiful.
I love what Patricia's saying in here. 100% empowerment when we admit we're wrong. It also just feels good. And it's so, Patricia, you are so right on. I think that in particular for women, we know that we seek to be perfect. We've been taught since we were we, and when I say we, I mean the generations that are in the workforce right now. Who knows what the generations after them will experience? But for us, it was, don't rock the boat, get everything right. I mean, we learned this in school. There's only one right answer. Everyone has to take a test at exactly the right time. There's no creative flow at all. And so we're scared to admit we're wrong. We're literally fearful that something bad is going to happen when we're wrong.
Somebody's going to find us out.
It's
they're going to find us out.
Find us out. Yeah, but you're right. It does feel good. I actually had that with my husband this morning. We were talking about a client had sent us some information via email and I didn't transfer it into a spreadsheet. And they had said, oh yeah, no, I added that. And I thought, they added that. And so I went back through my email. I was like, oh, yep, that was me. Like it didn't go from the email to the collaboration doc. That was totally me. And I was like, hey, that does feel good. Like I wasn't trying to hide. Right. And so I think those are great stories, people. Like, let's tell those stories more often. I think that's so good. I feel so inspired.
And one thing I do with my team, which I found to be really empowering. So if you're out there and you've got a team, I have this idea in my head, and I know that when I put it out there, they're going to have all their ideas in their brains. And I know that I think I'm right, but I could be totally wrong, because I've got these brilliant brains in the room for a reason. And so I start off going, guys, I got an idea. And if you ask anyone that works with me, I go, I got a great idea. It may be amazing. If it's really bad, just let me know. No problem. We will keep moving. And I want to hear what you think about it and what your ideas are. So it's okay to say, I've got an idea, but it's okay for you to tell me if this is a bad idea. What do you think?
And I think that's the difference between a leader today and like the old school leader. I think that's more of a collaboration, and you're inviting in the dissension, right? Because that will lead to a better outcome. Humans are underrated as one of them. It's part of our origin story, but it's absolutely true. Yeah. Because when you have diversity of thought and you have the ability for people to speak up and their voice be heard and seen, and it leads to a better outcome. It's so important.
Well, it's the credit for and control over the outcome, which is what you're both saying. You're like literally both saying that this beautiful, like being able to release that, like, and it being for the good of all and the harm of none is such a beautiful way to walk this planet.
But when you realize that all brains are different, all brains think different. We come from different backgrounds, different experiences. I've been in team meetings and my daughter's been here and she's piped up and she's had great ideas and the whole team goes, that's fantastic. So just because she's autistic doesn't mean that her brain can't contribute to the meeting, to the conversation. And, so I actually taught my husband this. I said to him, because he was struggling with, I walk into the room, I'm trying to figure out people, this and this and this. I said, why don't you walk in the room and only picture a room full of brains? All those brains are in that room just to help you. If we could only just see brains walking around, this world would be a lot different. And
I see an image of your team meetings.
Right. We have a ton of brains, but he came home and he said that was the best advice that I've ever given him, because it immediately put his head in the right space. These brains are in this room for the benefit of my company. They want what's best for the company. All I need to do is listen to these brains.
It's so good.
Katie, I take it from all the wisdom you've instilled on us in the last 45 minutes, you may dabble in some reading and may listen to some podcast. What is your favorite recommended read or podcast or both? Because we want to soak in some of the stuff that fuels you.
So I'm going to tell you about two books. One of them was published in early 2000, and it was my favorite book. I've read it so many times. That book that's just worn and every page is worn. It's called The Secret Lives of Bees. And
we love Sumant Kid. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Because it's just powerful. It's just such a powerful book of a type of love. And the second book that I would highly suggest is called Set Boundaries Workbook. And I love this book. I have it actually right next to and I've got little tabs that I do.
I think I need a copy.
Yes.
I love the title.
It's phenomenal.
Sarah.
Holding your boundaries is a form of self-care and many things. And what it is we have to teach ourselves. Life is a journey. We have to teach ourselves. Those are my two favorite books. If you get into podcasts, I was actually listening to some of the WomanUP podcasts, and your Julia Israel mentioned the same podcast, Bryn Brown, that I like. And she's all her Dare to Lead podcast.
Oh, so good. So good.
She's phenomenal. And so that's definitely, if anyone doesn't listen to her podcast, please do. And for me personally, there's an all autism talk. Now, if your child or your young adult or somebody who has a learning disability, it's still a great channel to listen to understand different communications tools. And there is one of the podcasts is with Dr. Temple Graydon and Dr. Deborah Moore. And it's all about navigating autism, that some brains are, thank you. Some brains are mathematicians, some brains are visual learners. When you start learning what the brains are out there, then you know how to communicate with those brains, and you know how to uplift those brains and empower them. And when you take, I'm so passionate about this. If you look at 100% of the people in this world and you start including everyone, then our lives are richer, our businesses and our communities are richer. Your business will excel. And we have to embrace all people, or else you're missing the conversation.
Amen. No, never apologize for your passion. Never
and your
here.
wisdom.
Yes. Well, and you know, to kind of bring it around to the beginning, right? This idea that I love the term neurodivergent. I love that they have it now, and that they're saying things like Albert Einstein was neurodivergent. And all that means is that the brain works differently than how we've all been taught it's supposed to work. Exactly. But I think that there's so many norms are being shattered right now. Our work-life balance norms are shattered. How we do business is being shattered. How we see gender and race and brains, like it is such an exciting time. It's uncomfortable because it's change, but we are so blessed to have leaders like you, Katie, who are saying, this is my slice. I can do this piece, and remind us all that we all have the ability to have that brainstorm in the middle of the night, the idea storm, as I like to call them, and wake up and go, I have to do this, and to listen to her, listen to that beautiful voice. We're so blessed for that reminder. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Okay. So before we go into the after the show, any last words?
Well, you know, often I look towards myself and I go, okay, you know, I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But then I also identify, sometimes I'm in a room and I get a little nervous and I just kind of feel like an introvert. And that's okay. That's okay. Because now I recognize that we all have a little bit of something in us. And when we start recognizing and going to ourselves, that's okay.
That's okay.
And then it's okay with me. It's okay with you. It's okay with all of us. And it starts here to understand there.
Oh,
and you know, my journey, like you said, I really want to help bridge this gap through technology. I want to give back to this beautiful community. The real estate community is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
I love it.
Thank you.
Wow. We are so grateful. Okay. So we're going to get ready to go to the after the show. So stick around, the live audience. For those of you who are listening on the podcast, if you want to hear these answers, you got to join us live. Go to IamWomanUp.com/live and sign up for the notifications so that you know what is happening when. For everyone else, Fridays at 2:00. We're always here Fridays at 2:00 with a shine of light, a wisdom session, a coffee and conversations, or a watch party. So there's always something happening in the WomanUP community on Fridays at 2:00 Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. You can count on that. Thank you everyone who joined us today live. And I am going to shut off the recording now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.